Will 3D printed steak be the future of the meat industry? Or will lab-grown meat be the direction that things go in? And most importantly, is any of this crap healthy? Let's talk about it. So in this video, we're going to be talking about some very important trends. This trend further and further into the processed fake meat kind of thing. We've been talking about it for a number of years. We have a fairly nuanced approach to the whole idea of how and why to use fake meats. By the time you get through this video, you're going to understand, have a better perspective of the pros and cons and the danger of this direction that we're going in, where the normalization of these processed fake meats, and then right around the corner is the lab-grown meat type of thing. So we're going to get into that. So I'm Professor Spira. I've practiced the Mucusless Diet Healing System for over 18 years, did a lot of studying on Professor Arnold Ehret, the Back to Nature Renaissance movement, and its connection to what we're dealing with today. So many people have been able to heal themselves using the methods put out by Professor Arnold Ehret in the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and I have had the privilege and the pleasure of sharing this information with hundreds of thousands of people and personally helping thousands of people transform their health for the better in ways that they did not think possible. And before we move forward, I want you to go down below, hit that link that's down there that says 5 free recipes to get rid of mucus in 7 days. We just have some great recipes down there. If you're new to this channel, if you're new to this idea of the Mucusless Diet Healing System, this is a great introduction. Click that link, get these recipes right now, get started today improving and transforming your life, getting mucus out of your system. So today I've read this article that with this Israeli startup Redefine Meat is racing to develop a 3D printed steak that can rival the taste and texture of real meat. So first of all, just taking a look at the history of fake meat, it's not something that's brand new, and it surprises some people that there are versions of the Mucusless Diet Healing System that actually recommend or have in there some of the earliest forms of fake meat as a transitional tool. So here's my thoughts on the fake meat phenomenon. Is that, and this is nuanced. Everybody say the word nuanced, because people don't like nuanced stuff for some reason here on YouTube. But this is a nuanced approach, where on one hand I'm saying it can be used for transitional purposes. Say it again. A big part of the Mucusless Diet Healing System is transition diet lessons. And not to go off into the weeds, there were some additions made by Fred Hirsch, who is an editor. That's a whole other video to get into that. But he provided some recipes and some things that a lot of people for many decades have used within the context of transition. So there's a number of things on the Mucusless diet that you would eat, that you might start eating today. You might eat for the first year or two of your transition, but by year 5 you're not going to be eating that anymore, or you're not going to be eating it as much with as much frequency. So something like the fake meat is good for some people in the beginning, but I also think that there's a little bit of mental work that can be done there, because if you can do it in a way where you're not trying to replace meat, like you're not doing that, like, okay, this is a soy burger or a pea protein burger or a wheat gluten type of, like, if you just acknowledge what it is and you're not trying to eat it because you crave meat, now that's a different level. And I think a lot of people they don't go without meat long enough, without meat or without the fake meat long enough to really get to that space where when they come back and they start eating the fake meat stuff, they really just crave the fake meat stuff. They don't crave real meat. They want that soy burger. They want that pea protein burger or whatever it is. So to tell you a story with me and my own personal transition, when I got started, I didn't use just like the first, very early on, I'm talking like the first 6 months, I purposely didn't use a lot of the fake meat kind of stuff. And I was, kind of still oscillating a little bit back and forth between, I would have meat every once in a while still, and but more and more it was getting into the fruits and the vegetables. I was starting to really master the things that are talked about in the Mucusless Diet Healing System book in terms of technique, how to combine the foods properly, started doing the enemas, and was getting out all of this black sludge and slime and worms and stuff out of my intestines. And so that was the transformation that was taking place. But once I had practiced for a little while and I was honest with myself, and I was like, I do not crave dead animal flesh anymore. Like, that's not something that I want. I then one time went over to Brother Air, who's the person who got me into the Mucusless diet. Has practiced now for over 40 years. Is just incredibly high level practitioner of the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and just faster extraordinaire. He fasts for 9-10 months at a time like it's nothing. So because of that, because when I met him, he was already going a year eating nothing but fruit and doing all these things that medical people say you can't do, the human body can't do. Well, he's doing it, so what's that? Was kind of the whole piece. It's like all the books got to be rewritten, all this stuff has to be reevaluated just based on this one guy that I saw every day for years. So I knew he wasn't shucking and jiving. I saw it with my own eyes what he was doing. And so, but one time I went over his house and he was fixing some wheat spaghetti. He had some vegetables. I think he had some wheat spaghetti and tomato sauce, and then he was cooking up some soy burger. And now, mind you, he was fasting, so he actually wasn't eating this, but he was making this for his family, because he would often fast. And this was another thing that kind of blew my mind. He would fast, and while he was into these long, and we're talking 4, 5, 6, 7 months into a fast, and he's actually preparing dinner for his family. It's like, wow. You're talking a high level right there. So he's making this, and I asked him, I was like, okay, so is that something, like, what's up with that? What's going on? I thought that the processed meat and all that was like, you weren't supposed to use that at all. He was like, nah, man, you can use it a little bit in the beginning if you want to, if you need it, or if you just want something to be, give you that little bit of heaviness. The key is to always put it with a salad, or to always put it around in the vegetable portion, so that it eliminates better than if you didn't have it with anything. And so so I was like, okay. And I ended up getting into, back then, that was like the old gimme lean, and this the soy stuff, and it's not great in terms of if you're already kind of in a more advanced type of vegan person or raw food person. This doesn't interest you. You don't even have to worry about this. I'm trying to tell you, I came from eating 2 footlongs with chili cheese and a cheeseburger, a root beer and a root beer float, and popcorn in one meal up to 2 times a week. So you can't take someone like me with the background I had and expect them, like, okay, eat raw fruits, eat nothing but raw fruits and vegetation for the rest of your life, starting right now. It's not gonna happen. It's called transition diet for a reason. And it's open like this for a reason. People close it up because they try to bring in philosophies from other places. So they try to bring in the raw foodist philosophy or the fruitarian philosophies or these things, as opposed to deal with Professor Arnold Ehret's recommendations on its own terms, examine and decide for yourself. Read through, I tell people, read through the transition diet lessons, over and over again, and fit it into your life, or allow your life to go around the new system. I mean, however deep you want to get into it like that. So the point is that, I started using some of those things and it was helpful. But because I was practicing the system and I was doing the process, I got to a point where I no longer wanted or craved the fake meat stuff. And so, as opposed to like you trying to use willpower where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna, no more gimme lean. It was like my body was getting to a point where it could no longer really eliminate that stuff well. And once things can't be eliminated well, I would just naturally start to transition off of them, and I would find something else to eat. And when I would find something else, it would be better. It'd be more mucus-free, something closer down that path of being mucus-free. And so I say that to say, again, the nuance that it's not something that we condemn, like, you never, ever, ever have any kind of whatever. Use some discretion. So if somebody asks me, well, did you get Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger? Well, yeah, go get Beyond Meat. There's a lot cleaner in comparison to something like Impossible Burger of the modern day, in the modern day fake meat wars brands. And that's another video. If somebody's interested in actually hearing I could rank the cleanliness of the different fake meats, and which, like what would I recommend from the worst, the one to stay away from the most, to the best. Maybe we could do something like that. Let me know in the comment section if something like that would interest you. You just want to be cautious with it. You want to be cognizant of what you're trying to do, that it's not something that you're going to use for the rest of your life, that you're going to eat every day. You can even get to a point where maybe 10 years into the diet, into practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System, you might have 3 or 4 meals a year that would have something like that in it. But that's how the transition, people try to think so much in this like straight line, like I'm starting here, I'm gonna get off of this, I'm never gonna eat this again, I'm never gonna eat that again, and you put yourself in this little bubble. Like, I don't say that about anything, that I'm just gonna, what I do is, read my body. What is my body wanting me to do in terms of transition and cleansing? And you just got to let time unfold. Work the system. So many people don't want to just work the system and be patient. You got to be patient with this thing and let your physiology permanently transform. So in terms of lab-grown meat, that's something that we just have to really understand that pus forming foods, dead animal flesh tissue that is decaying into puddles of slime and filth, that first and foremost, humans aren't supposed to eat that. Yeah, I hear it. Come on, scream and moan and cry. I mean, it is what it is. I don't care what you do. Your physiological karma is not mine. And so, hey, we all have to deal with our own, as I call it, physiological karma. Meaning that whatever choices you make and decisions you make, if they go against universal laws, there's going to be consequences, or there's going to be a reaction to every action. And so if indeed humans are not supposed to eat dead animal flesh, if indeed these things that humans have come to call canine teeth, which I've never seen a human jump on the back of a tiger and sink our canine teeth into the neck of an animal, of a living animal that also has canine teeth, and be successful. So now if you know of somebody that's done that, or you have a video, a natural habitat video of a human jumping on the back of a tiger and sinking his or her teeth into the tiger's neck and then eating the tiger, then you let me know. I'll change. I might change everything, man. I might stop practicing the diet and dedicate my life to jumping on the backs of tigers and sinking my real threatening canine teeth. I can show you videos of the carnivorous animals that eat animals. They deal with that feces. They eat some of that raw feces right out of the intestines as part of them as they're trying to go for the gut. So we don't like that. So that right there should tell us we are not supposed to be eating dead animal flesh. Yet the sense organs of humans are in such a pathological state, embodied in pus-like mucus and waste that is throughout the entire system, that we crave things that we have no business ever putting in our body. Yet we crave it. So there is this deception that our body can play on us, deceiving us into thinking that we need foods that are actually poisonous to us. And that is indeed the tragedy of nutrition. We're dumb sometimes, man. We think we're so smart. We think we're so like advanced, and we got these brains, and we can analyze and create technology. But man, there's some things that we just, because of addiction. See, what we don't understand is the addiction to pus and mucus forming foods have totally created this entire reality that we're in. And so from the scientific methods and the scientific paradigms that you're going to deal with to just everything is based in that. And so when you start from the perspective that something you're already doing is superior, and you then automatically you're going to create a bunch of science to just support what you're doing. And that's what they did with the dead animal eating, the protein theories. I can't get into all that in this video, but you can study the history of the protein theory if you want. Check out Mulder, check out Francois Magendie. If you want to check out the history of the calorie theory, which is such a dumb theory, you can go read up on Atwater. I invite you to do that. You don't have to believe anything I say. Check these theories out, and if you think that these theories are great and they make sense to you and the way that they did them and the reasoning, but the whole point is that so much of what we think about today in terms of diet is built on these concepts and these experiments that were based on this very Eurocentric perspective of we're great, we're the best, I like eating dead animal flesh, so I'm assuming that that's the best for humans. I'm assuming that because humans eat omnivoric, that that's how it always was. So this is just like, medieval kind of thinking that we're still in. But there was a man by the name of Professor Arnold Ehret, and there was other people in that time in the Back to Nature Renaissance movement of the late 1800s that started in Switzerland and Germany, that ultimately would find its way to Southern California, and then over the next few decades blow up and emerge and go mainstream in something that people call the hippie movement. But it all goes back to Nature movement that originally was about not only just reconnecting with nature conceptually and going back out into the woods or nudists, living nude sunbathing, that kind of stuff. It was all about diet. And that's where you get the initial this real interest in fruitarianism. Can humans eat nothing but fruit and survive? Can humans eat nothing but fruit and vegetables and survive? And why is it that when humans eat nothing but fruits and vegetables and fast, if they are very sick, they often heal? Like, what is that? This was the kind of, that was the kind of research that was going on, the kind of, very advanced, research that people like Professor Arnold was doing in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Humans, I posit to you, were originally fruit eaters at best, fruit and vegetable eaters at worst. The Genesis 1:29 concept is less of a commandment and more of an observation. This is what you are. Eat, if you're going to eat something, eat the fruit. If we're going to categorize you as an animal, eat the vegetation. Genesis 1:30. We've gotten so far away from where we started, where we were supposed to be. All of the chaos, all of the pain and the suffering that's in this world is due to a disconnection from nature. Cause and effect. The cause, getting disconnected from nature, from that spiritual essence. The effect is going to be bad breath and disease and death. D-E-A-T-H. E-A-T, eat. The death process, that's an eating process, brings about a death process. So we have to just be conscious of this. We have to understand, whether you're talking about the fake meats, you're talking about the lab grown, we just have to know, just because it's going to come out, it's going to be available. But we had to start the educational process now to say that just because it's there doesn't mean that you need to eat it, or that it's good to eat, or that it's healthy, or that you're supposed to eat it. Generally speaking, like, do you want this? Does this look good to you? To have meat that's there's processed constituents that's then printed. I mean, is that what you want? You want printed, processed crap? Or do you want beautiful, fragrant, fresh herbs and fruits and vegetables? I will take the fruits and the vegetables, and you can have the the Xeroxed meat. So get ready. It's coming. That kind of stuff is coming. Just be ready to reject it when somebody offers it to you. And be like, and the restaurants start popping up, all bunch of vegan restaurants. Then they'll start trying to bring in the lab-grown meat. You're like, we're still vegan. It's lab-grown, but we're vegan though. We know animals were harmed. Just be ready for it, and just be ready to denounce it, and be like, because then you got to just lead forward. So we eat fruits and green leafy vegetables is what we do. Fruits and vegetables. Well, how do you get your protein? Well, I don't believe in that theory, but fruits and vegetables. Well, how do you get the fruits and vegetables? What do you do? Fruits and fasting, enemas and fasting. Well, but what about fruit and vegetables? Yeah, but what if this and so how's your sex life? Just change the subject.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
At that point, you don't need that's a waste of a lot of good oxygen and putting all kinds of carbon dioxide out here that's just not gonna be helpful. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please give this video a like, share the video with your friends and family. We have a lot of fun on this channel talking about pus and mucus forming foods and the culture with which develops it, that comes out of, and the cultural issues involved. There's so much cultural stuff that you would never even think of. And the reason that you think the way you think is because of these eating habits. And so, thank you so much, and until next time, peace, love, and breath.